President Trump's state visit to the United Kingdom continues. This afternoon, he'll meet with Prince Charles once again. Earlier, he met with outgoing Prime Minister Theresa May, who is expected to step down just a few days from now.
The two spoke about a wide range of topics, including Brexit. The president was also asked about his threat, to impose new tariffs on goods from Mexico.
Mexico shouldn't allow millions of people to try and enter our country, and they could stop it very quickly. And I think they will. And if they won't, we're going to put tariffs on. And every month those tariffs go from 5% to 10% to 15% to 20% and then to 25%.
And what do you think of Republicans who say that they may take action to block you imposing those tariffs?
Oh, I don't think they will do that. I think if they do, it's foolish. There's nothing more important than borders. I've had tremendous Republican support.
There were large protests in London against the president's visit. He was asked about that as well.
As far as the protests, I have to tell you, because I commented on it yesterday, we left the Prime Minister, the Queen, the royal family. There were thousands of people on the streets cheering. And even coming over today, there were thousands of people cheering. And then I heard that there were protests. I said, where are the protests? I don't see any protests. I did see a small protest today when I came, very small. So a lot of it is fake news, I hate to say. But you saw the people waving the American flag, waving your flag. It was tremendous spirit and love. There was great love. It was an alliance. And I didn't see the protesters until just a little while ago, and it was a very, very small group of people.
All right, so CBSNews.com reporter Haley Ott is joining us on the telephone from London, where demonstrators gathered to protest the president's visit. You will hear the people in the background as we talk to Haley. There had been some debate, Haley, as to how many people were at the protest. What are you seeing where you are right now? What have you seen over the last couple of days?
Hi. So the protest really kicked off this morning in Trafalgar Square, where there were thousands of people gathered with signs, loud, very enthusiastic crowd. And then they continued marching throughout the day. Organizers have said that they estimate about 75,000 people were there. The police don't release official figures on the turnout. But there were certainly tens of thousands of people here protesting President Trump's visit.
So I suppose it wouldn't be surprising if the president said he never saw any protesters, because as I understand it, authorities are actually trying to keep the protesters sort of away from the president, and he's kind of flying in, or he's in the beast, as you would have it. But he said he actually saw supporters lining the streets. Have you seen that?
I did not see the supporters that I think that he was referring to, but there were a few people out to support Trump. There were about 5 or 6 people wearing Make America Great Again hats. And there were, I think, 3 people who had come from Scotland to show their support for the president. But apart from that, everyone that I saw was out protesting the president's visit, and they wanted to send the message that he was not welcome in the British capital.
And we're seeing some of those images, Haley, including this inflatable, I guess, I don't know what you'd call it, balloon?
It's a Trump statue, yeah. The one that we just saw there.
Yeah.
He's sitting and texting.
Yeah, sitting and texting on the throne.
Yeah.
And there's also the famous baby,
yeah.
Is it a baby? Yeah,
yep.
What is
Baby
that?
Trump is there,
Baby
also
Trump.
with cell phone in hand.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know this. Okay, yeah. So those balloons have been, this was just earlier today we saw that.
Yeah, the Trump baby balloon blimp made its first appearance at the protest that happened last year, which the turnout was big, some say bigger than this year's protest. And it became sort of a viral hit. And the creators of that balloon said that they would re-release it if they could raise enough money that then they would donate to charities, which they did. So they flew the Trump baby balloon again. And that robot that you were referring to, the big sort of statue-looking thing of Trump seated and texting, was actually created by an American who was inspired by the Trump baby blimp. He was inspired by the symbolism and what he said was the humor. I spoke to him earlier. And he wanted to create another sort of humorous way of expressing his dissatisfaction with the president and the current situation.
Wow. And so, again, just to be fair to what the point that Anne-Marie was making, which is that these protests are not, I mean, what are the estimates of the numbers of people that have taken to the streets, given that it's the middle of the work week in the UK?
I mean, it doesn't look anywhere near the size that we saw last year.
Right.
From what we can see anyways.
Yeah. I mean, I was here last year as well. It felt bigger last year. Again, the organizers have said it was about 75,000 people were here. I would say it was certainly in the tens of thousands. I don't know if it was 75,000 people. And obviously we don't get official figures for that from the authorities. But there certainly was a significant turnout, and people definitely came out on a rainy day, on a work day, to express dissatisfaction with Trump's visit to this country.
Haley, before we let you go, I have a question, and it's something that I was thinking about, because the president, as you know, when he was being questioned by reporters alongside Prime Minister May, said that the reports of protests on the streets of London were fake news. Obviously, that's not true. We can see the protests happening. So my question, I don't know if you've been able to speak to some of the people who are out there still protesting to tell them what the president said and how they feel about that. Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the president has one of the largest megaphones in the world. And if he says that these protests didn't happen, there will certainly be some people in this country or in the UK which will believe that they did not happen and that it's a spin of the media. So I'm just curious what the people who are out there who are clearly passionate about this and they feel that they need to take time off from work or whatever it is to take to the streets, how they feel about being labeled as fake news.
I'm standing right now in the middle of the workday in the middle of a square. It's raining. It's cold. Everyone is out here protesting against the visit of President Trump. The idea that this is fake news isn't fair and it isn't accurate. There have been thousands of people out in London who are here to make their voices heard, to make their views known. And I think they would be disheartened and frustrated to hear that it reports that what they're doing is being labeled as fake news.
All right, Haley. Haley Ott there in London for us. Thank you.